What's up everyone, it's your FPL Thinking Cap Benji, and welcome back to Best FPL Captain. Last game week we had Saka in at number 1, and he didn't disappoint with a fat 18 points. That's one of the biggest captaincy hauls we've achieved all season. But is it time to back Saka again in 14, or is Salah the best choice for midweek matches? Let's find out. Thinking Cap activated. Starting off with last week's review, and we had another set of perfect results. Saka was best cap with a goal and 3 assists away to West Ham. Palmer bagged 2 returns and max bonus. He finished 1 point ahead of Mo Salah. Son was a little bit disappointing in the wildcard spot, but overall we're in excellent form heading into December. 4 green ticks from 4 makes it 3 consecutive game weeks with perfect results. So let's not waste another second, jumping straight into the shortlist for game week 14, which sees Erling Haaland return as a candidate after being excluded last episode. This is the first set of midweek matches, guys, and actually all 4 options play on Wednesday. Haaland, Palmer, and Salah will kick off at 7:30 PM UK, with Bukayo Saka playing Manchester United just 45 minutes later. Taking a look at rest plus expected minutes, and this week Saka has the advantage. He's had 4 rest days and he didn't travel on the weekend. Arsenal won't be traveling at all in December, which definitely boosts Saka's minutes. He's going to play Wednesday, Sunday, so Saka has an extra day to recover ahead of Fulham in 15, where Salah and Haaland will both be traveling in the next 7 days, and the pair of them play Wednesday, Saturday, so it's a little bit tighter turnaround in comparison to Saka's schedule. All of these factors formulate Saka's xMinutes, which is the highest on the shortlist at 88. Haaland has the second best minutes projections at 83 because he's just facing Nottingham Forest at home. Home fixture, I think his minutes should be pretty good. Salah will travel away to Newcastle and then he'll play in the early kickoff in 15 against Everton. I really do think Slot is likely to sub Mo off early against Newcastle if Liverpool are leading, which is why he has the worst xMinutes. Palmer will travel away to Southampton and then the Spurs game on Sunday. That's in London, by the way. And because it's a Wednesday-Sunday turnaround, I do think Cole Palmer is secure for around 80 minutes, but I do also expect him to be the highest likelihood for benching this game week. It's time for the opponent defense analysis, and we don't need to spend too long here because Southampton are clearly the most targetable fixture. They're averaging 1.9 goals conceded per game, 2.1 XGC per game, and in all 5 of my categories, they have the worst numbers. After that, I'd say the Man United fixture is probably the next best. Our defense has actually been solid this season, but we've conceded the most chances, 48. Down our left flank, Saka will obviously play right wing, so it's a prime time matchup for Bukayo. Doesn't matter if he faces up against Delo, Luke Shaw, or Malacia, I still back Saka against any of those options. Newcastle's defensive numbers are the second best out of all 4, but their weakest defensive zone is also their left flank, conceding 49 chances down that side, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Eddie Howe utilize a Joe Linton from left wing in an attempt to double up on Salah. That's exactly what Howe did to neutralize Bukayo Saka a couple of weeks ago. Nottingham Forest are clearly the strongest defense. They're up there with Liverpool as one of the best defenses in the league this season. It's also worth mentioning that they've conceded the least amount of chances in central areas versus both the left and right flanks. So matchup-wise, the numbers aren't pointing towards a Haaland Hattie. Exploring the historical trends for game week 14, and Forest's defense has improved, but Haaland has dominated them in the past. He's never blanked at home to Forest, and in his first season, he actually scored a hat-trick in this exact fixture. It was a Wednesday 7:30 kickoff as well. Palmer has an excellent historical record away to promoted teams, returning 6 involvements in just 4 starts. He did just blank away to Leicester, but he's returned in all of the other 3 matches, including 2 double-digit hauls. Saka has been very consistent when facing Man United at the Emirates. 4 GA in 3 starts, and he's yet to blank in this fixture. Finally, with Mo Salah, he has the worst historical record. He's never hauled double digits away to Newcastle, and he's blanked in 40% of starts at St. James's Park. Alright, let's move into the kickoff stats. Beginning with game day comparison, Saka has the least encouraging data set. He's averaging 0.6 returns per start, and he's blanked in 50% of midweek home matches. Saka has returned 2 double-digit hauls in the last 5, so he can deliver the required points, but his 50% blank rate suggests more inconsistency than some of the other options on the shortlist. Surprisingly, Mo Salah has a pretty mediocre record. He's blanked in 59% of midweek away games. That's a crazy high blank rate for Mo. He's usually one of the most consistent assets when we look at the kickoff stats every week, so this is definitely not a good sign for Salah Cap. He's also failed to return a single GA in 4 of his last 5, and Salah ranks last with the worst points form on the shortlist. Both Haaland and Palmer's datasets indicate positive signs towards this kickoff. Palmer's blanked just 1 time in his last 5 away starts in midweek matches. His points average and his points form rank second best in this category. Palmer has strong historical bias towards these midweek matches, not only in away games, but also in the home ones as well. I'd still give Haaland the edge on this one though. Erling has never actually blanked a home midweek match. His points average sits at 10.6. The fact that it's so high just tells you that he has exploded in this kickoff before, and Haaland ranks first in every single category in my game day analysis. Now what we're going to do is we're going to compare the game time data, and just an FYI that Haaland and Palmer haven't started many games at this kickoff, so that's why there's a few empty data points. Let's start with Mo Salah, who has a much more encouraging data set. He ranks second in return rate, and he's hauled 10 or more points in 42% of starts away at 7:30, but once again, his blank rate is way higher than usual, and his points history across the last 5 is a very mixed bag. Salah looks to offer decent explosive potential at this kickoff with the nice haul rate, but his blank rate is very, very high as well, and that is a big red flag for me. Haaland has started only 4 times in home games at 7:30, but he's returned in all 4. That includes 2 mega hauls of 14 points and 17 points. So there's definitely some positive bias towards this game time for Haaland. He ranks first in 4 out of the 5 categories, and he has the best set of kickoff time data. Bukayo Saka shows no clear signs of positive or negative bias towards the 8:15 p.m. kickoff. His blank rate is the worst out of all 4 at 50%, but his form is actually the best on the shortlist, and his points average is actually a little bit better than Salah. So Saka is a little bit of a mixed bag this game week in terms of his kickoff time data. He's blanked twice in the last 5 with only 1 double-digit haul to show for it, and that's the problem with Saka in the 8:15s. He lacks that real explosive potential, only hauling 10 or more points in 8% of starts, so no strong signs of big points potential from him, but I will say Saka is in red hot form. Finally, let's touch on Cole Palmer. He started only twice away at 7:30, but he's produced GA in both matches. If you've been on Thinking Cap Hive for a while, if you watch my content, then you'll already know that Palmer is a consistency breeds explosivity type of player, and that's something his kickoff profile has highlighted in the past. 0 blanks from 2 starts at this game time, with a good midweek dataset does suggest some serious Palmer points. They could be on the way. Now for my captain rankings, which I know most of you guys are here for, and before we get into it, I'd really appreciate if you guys gave this video a like. It takes a lot of effort and time to make these every week, so go tap that like button if you're enjoying this series. Remember that these rankings can change depending on late news we get before the deadline. That could be from press conferences, leaks, unexpected injuries, anything. So make sure you check out my socials via the links in the video description below. And if there are any changes, you'll find everything you need on my social platforms. Now, let's get into the rankings, starting with the Game Week 14 wildcard cap. Let's start there. Last week I had Son there, and I was hoping he could end the drought for this spot because this ranking hasn't been returning the points recently. I really thought Son would deliver, but he blanked against Fulham. This time around, though, we've got a very appealing option in Erling Haaland. Now, let me get this clear. I don't make any of my captaincy decisions based off EO or risk. I think of it in its purest sense. Who do I think will score the most points? But for the wildcard captain, obviously it's a high risk, high reward spot. And as you guys know, I do think Haaland has enormous potential if you own him. His predicted EO is low in both the elite tier of managers and in the millions in terms of rank. So you're getting big game potential from a Haaland cap. He's one of the most explosive assets in the game, and we just went through his kickoff stats. His data sets smash all of the other three guys out of the park, but Forest isn't a team I want to target for captaincy. In most defensive metrics, they sit top 3 in the league, and I do rate the Murillo-Milenkovic partnership very highly. They're not going to make it easy for Haaland on Wednesday, and considering how poor City have been, there's a chance City only score 1 or 2 goals and potentially drop even more points in that game. So Haaland's just too high risk at the moment for me to put him in my top 3. Still a very good option, massive gain potential, and I'd seriously consider if I owned. Moving into the top 3, let's go bottom to top, which means we start with a man in 3rd position, which is Mo Salah. Look, my problem with the Salah cap is the low xMinutes. I do think there's a very strong chance he gets subbed earlier than expected, even if Liverpool are up by just 1 goal. There's lots of games coming for Arne Slot, and he's already shown that he's not afraid to shave Salah's minutes. Newcastle have been very defensively sound this season, especially against top 6 sides at home. Think about the Spurs game, think about Arsenal at home as well. They've put up some good results there. I don't think it's going to be an easy game at all, and I do think that Eddie Howe will double up on Mr. Salah with Joe Linton in that left wing position, and then you'll have Joe Linton and Hall on the double up with Salah, because obviously Trent is going to be bombing forward as well. I do think that is what's going to happen, and if Salah's being doubled up, do I really want a piece of that? Probably not. So with the low minutes expected for me, and with the double up, which is what I'm expecting, and also it's not like he has amazing kickoff data. His blank rates were both above 40%, I'm pretty sure, in both of the game day and game time analysis. So even in terms of my personal data with what I look at, I don't think it's a very good matchup for Salah, and that's why he doesn't go higher than 3rd place for me. Now, for my best captain in Game Week 14, I believe it is Cole Palmer, which does put Bukayo Saka in 2nd place. Let's start with Bukayo Saka first, and my problem with the Saka cap, I do think that Man United could be a bogey fixture for Arsenal. Amorim has a pretty good record already against Arteta. I think he knocked them out of the Europa League a couple seasons ago, and I do also think that he beat them in the Champions League last season at home. So he has played very well, set up very well tactically against Arteta. Ugarte and Casemiro midfield is probably likely to start unless we put Eriksen in there, and if we put Eriksen in there against Arsenal at the Emirates, that's not going to end well. So I do think Saka's an excellent captain. He was really close with Cole Palmer this week. My problem is I just don't trust the United fixture. It could be a little bit of a banana skin, and I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I do have trust in Arsenal, but I still am backing Mr. Cole Palmer, and that's because Ramsdale's injured, McCarthy is injured with a knee concern, which means that they're going to be starting a 3rd string goalkeeper in net, Harwood Bellis, who I believe, I've watched a lot of Southampton this season, guys. A lot of Southampton, believe me, because I've owned assets like Dibbling and Armstrong. I've watched, I think, almost every Southampton game, and Harwood Bellis is by far their best defender. There's no question about it. Not to mention that Dibbling's also suspended, as I said before. And I'll just tell you this now, everything good attacking-wise comes from Dibbling, in terms of not necessarily that he is on the final ball in terms of the goal or the assist, but in terms of when he gets the ball kind of centrally, just on the edge of the halfway line, maybe a little bit in the opponent's half, he takes on a couple men, then gets the ball out wide into a crossing position for the cutback, and Southampton have scored a lot of goals that way. Even on the counter, that's how they scored against Liverpool. Both goals they scored against Brighton, including the offside one and the one they actually scored, came from Dibbling making that run and then playing the ball out wide. So seriously, I think he's going to be a really big miss for them. And what that means is that I do think that there's a much higher likelihood that Chelsea keep a clean sheet in this game, which means Palmer's clean sheet potential goes up and the point for the clean sheet goes up as well. I am expecting Palmer to be the highest EO captain, around 155, 160% across most ranked tiers. But look, the Southampton fixture is just too good to target. Palmer has already shown that he has strong historical bias towards these midweek fixtures, especially at home, and I'm expecting him to show some preference towards the away fixtures as well, considering how good his record is against promoted teams. So my best captain is Cole Palmer for this week. Let me know who you guys are going in the comment sections down below. If you enjoyed this one, then drop a like, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Peace.